Celebrity cruises, the top 10 reasons expert travel advisors love them. Stay tuned. My special guest today is Ann-Marie Gaudet of Cruise Holiday Select. Ann-Marie specializes in cruise vacations and group cruise vacations and has been meeting the needs of her clients in Ontario and New Brunswick and across the country since 1998. Hi, Anne-Marie. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Thanks for
It's
having
always
me.
a pleasure to have you back on RTE Travel Talk.
I just love being on here and talking all I know about cruises.
So, listen, having worked with you the last 10 plus years, I've noticed that you seem to have a go to cruise line for your escorted voyages and, in some cases, even your personal travels. And that cruise line is
Yes,
Celebrity Cruises. Now, you're
it sure
certainly not
is.
alone in that view. We ourselves are huge fans and have sailed with them a ton of times, as are the vast majority of other travel advisors. So I thought today that we could spend a little time and we could touch on perhaps some of the top 10 reasons why travel advisors love celebrity cruises. How's that sound? All
Sounds
right.
good to
So
me.
why don't we start out, Anne-Marie, by, just give our viewers and listeners like a 30,000 foot level view of just who celebrity cruise lines are, their ships, where they sail, destinations, that sort of thing.
Well, a brief history is they were owned by Pandris, which is a Greek cruise line. In 1997, they were acquired
Okay.
by Royal Caribbean, which was a great move. The good thing about Royal Caribbean Corporation is that they have kept their two cruise lines very separate. So Royal Caribbean, they do their thing. Celebrity, they do their thing. Done it perfectly, and I think it's a success. What I love about Celebrity so much on my side of things, because we all know
Right.
things can happen. No matter how hard you try,
Yep.
things can happen. And for with Celebrity, their customer service goes above and beyond. So when things happen, they're there and they have gone above and beyond so many times. That's why I like to put my customers on there. First of all, I know they're going to be happy. I know they're going to love the product, but heaven forbid something happens. They're there and they're there to help us. So they do it right and they know they're doing it right.
Obviously, you have great faith in putting your customers in their hands.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. And like you said, not just my customers too, but myself and my family
So now
times a year.
when we
So,
think about
yeah,
them as compared to Royal Caribbean, they're more of a premium line. Am I correct in that, Anne-Marie?
absolutely.
So,
Yes, they are.
like what,
Yeah.
just for the sake of argument, what would the difference be between a Royal Caribbean cruise and a cruise on Celebrity, you think?
The biggest difference is the demographic. So, Royal Caribbean, they are catering to families. Not that you have to be part of a family to go on them, but they are catering to people that have a younger family or a teen family. They have the rock climbing walls, they have the zip lining, they have the surfing. Celebrity is going more for, and once again, families can go on Celebrity and they do have kids programs, but they are more going for a more professional, maybe a little bit older crowd. So they're not focusing on the zip lining and the things to keep the families active and busy. They're more focusing on their itineraries, their dining, their shows, things like that.
Right on.
There's something for
Right.
everybody,
So
right?
in
Something
terms of
for everybody.
demographics, then the age group would be more, the 40 somethings because our kids,
Yes.
like I'm a long way from 40 something now, but our kids are growing up and they're doing their own thing. So they're not necessarily going to travel with
Yeah.
me. So I'm looking for something a little bit more
Yeah.
modern luxury, a little bit more refined, and Celebrity fits that
Exactly.
bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now that being said, though, my youngest daughter is 31 and
Yeah.
she loves Celebrity.
So we kind of polled our viewers and listeners, Anne-Marie, and the top 10 things that they've come up with. And I wanted to kind of see if it's the same what you find with travel advisors. So number one on the list is onboard entertainment. How do you find that?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you right up front. I'm not a show person. So I don't go to a lot of the shows anymore. I always go to the comedians. They always seem to have
Right.
amazing comedians that just make you laugh. But their shows are more, they do have the singing and dancing like Broadway like shows, but they also have more of an eclectic, if I can call it that, entertainment where they do have more like Cirque du Soleil, that type of interesting,
Right.
interactive entertainment. So
Yeah. And
that's
I've
what people
noticed
like.
around the ship, and it's not just the actual stage shows, but it's the kind of the interesting things that you come across, like the mixology classes. They're kind of
Yep,
cool. Glass blowing.
yep.
Have you seen their
Hmm.
flair bartenders and that
And
fancy,
ship.
the fancy tricks that they do?
Oh, they are amazing at
Yeah.
the martini bar. They flip bottles. They I've had seen them do like a tier where they've made like 10 drinks and they pour it. They are so entertaining. And they how they do it, I don't know. So yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, anywhere on the ship,
Yeah.
there's
But it's those
entertainment.
little things that really stand out in folks' mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, number
Yeah.
2 is dining. Now, that's near and dear to my heart, and they have some spectacular looking dining rooms, plus a lot of specialty dining options. How does that stack up?
Well, their main restaurant, which on their new class ships, Edge class ships, there's
Yeah,
four different main restaurants that you can visit, and they all have different themes. But on the other ships, the main restaurant, the food there is excellent. It's so good, and they really do try to please you. But they do have specialty dining, and their specialty dining venues are amazing. Their Tuscan Grill, which is Italian
right.
steakhouse. My daughter does not eat all day when we're going to Tuscan Grill at night. And we
Right,
always come out of their stuff. But even things like
right.
interactive dining, Le Petit Chef, I've done that twice. And both times, like it's not a repeat of it. So
Yeah,
it's actually a show on your plate and amazing,
yeah.
amazing, and well worth it.
Oh,
And the food is
fantastic.
delicious.
The main dining room on the Edge class, correct me if I'm wrong, but that in and of itself is divided into 4 themes, is it not?
Exactly, exactly. In each restaurant, you can get a little bit of the mess on the
Right.
menu from one of the other restaurants, but they each kind of have their theme. So there's,
Yeah,
a French. There's more Mediterranean. There's more
yeah.
contemporary North American. So you can go to change the dining rooms like each night. You don't have to go to the
Right,
same dining room every night. So they've really introduced a change in the dining, and it's a smaller
yeah.
venue, so it's not the great big huge dining room, which kind of makes it a little bit
But
more
that's
interactive.
a great option for folks that want to get a bunch of different flavors while still staying not actually
Absolutely.
doing the cover charge for the specialty dining, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Now, the one thing, if you are on Edge class and you pick
Right,
anytime dining, you can rotate. You can pre-book
right,
your dining times too and rotate from restaurant to restaurant. If you take set dining, so 6 or 8:30, they will just put you in the one restaurant and that's
okay,
where you'll stay. So I always suggest to my clients when they are on an Edge class, they're better off to book anytime so that they can move around to
okay.
the different
That's
restaurants.
a good tip. Now,
Hmm.
speaking
Yeah.
of classes of the ships, that's number 3 in our list. I gather there's 3 classes: Millennium, Solstice class, and Edge class. Tell us a little bit about though the class of ships because there's lots of choice.
And they're all very different. My personal favorite is the Solstice class. That's just my favorite for some reason. I like the layouts of the ship and the cabins and things like that. So the Millennium
Right,
class are a little bit older. Cabins are a little bit larger. They do have the main dining room. So some of the additions that they've added on Solstice class or Edge class are not there, but they still have kept these
right,
ships updated and they're lovely. The layout of them is very different.
right,
They're a little bit smaller than the newer ones. Still wonderful. Celebrity is keeping them up and
right.
keeping them refreshed. Said Solstice class, that's my favorite. I just like the way it's laid out. I kind of know where everything is now and things like that. And then their new Edge class, they really went out of the box on this one. And their balconies are
Yeah.
very different. They're almost like river cruise balconies. So it makes your cabin larger. Each of them has great amenities and they're
Yeah.
all
So
great
it
no
comes
matter
down
what
to a
you go
good
on.
conversation with your travel advisor for which ship is going to suit you best.
Exactly.
I believe I believe now you can
Exactly. Yeah.
correct me on passenger counts, but the Millennium class we're probably talking about 2,100 passengers.
Yeah.
Solstice around 35, and then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know about Edge class. How many is
They're a little bit larger. I would say they're about
okay?
35, 3,800. and the solstice class are more
Okay.
around 3,000.
So the Edge is a little bit
So
bigger again.
still,
Solstice is in the
right.
3,000 range. But in the whole scheme of things,
Yeah,
none of the
yeah,
ships in those class are considered large by our standards today. So yeah,
exactly.
they're a
Yeah, they're not the
nice
mega
size.
ships, that's for sure.
It leads me to number 4. You talked about some of the features on board these ships. Modern luxury continues to be one of the highlights of celebrity cruises. The onboard atmosphere being really nice, but not stuffy, but they're not party boats either. How does that fare, Anne-Marie?
That's exactly it. So they're not stuffy at all. You feel at home the minute you get on board. From the captain to anyone else on that works on the ship, they always will say hello. They won't just pass you in the hall. Their spa is divine. So it is. You can still have fun if you like to stay out and dance at night. They have that. They have trivia. They have everything that you can pick what you want, but they have something for everybody. It's a good mixture
Yeah.
between being
Yeah.
luxury but
So
not
you're
being
not going
stuffy.
to find rip roaring loud parties on board these ships. That the type of guest
Exactly,
that's
exactly,
attracted to it, that's just not kind of their style.
exactly. They want you to have a comfortable vacation because they
Right.
realize it is your vacation.
Number 5 on the list is service. The guest passenger ratio is good, and the customer feedback that we've always heard from folks has been amazing. How do you find it as a travel advisor?
It is beyond I don't know how they remember people's names because I can't remember my own name half the time. Like I said before, they won't pass you in the hall and just pass you. There will always be hello, hello, are you having a nice day? If you need help, there's somebody there. They will go above and beyond to help. Like on the different ships I've been on, I've actually run into the same person from like a cruise, 2 years before, and they've still remembered my name. Like that is beyond me. The last cruise that I escorted, which was the Greek Isles
Right.
in May, at one of the bars, and I don't know if this means I drink too much, but I don't think it does. But when the bartender saw me
Yeah.
coming, he knew what I liked
Yeah.
and it was ready for me. I mean, that's service above and beyond. It
And
really
I
is.
can echo that sentiment. We've got so many great memories with such wonderful crew that are on board that really made the cruise. Think of one specific head waiter, Alain. He was just fantastic, and we were fortunate to have him on 2 different cruises, and they remember you. How they do it, I don't know, but
They do.
because they
They
meet
remember you. Yep.
thousands and
Well,
thousands,
actually,
literally thousands of people.
it's
But
so true. I don't know how they do it.
number 6 on the list
Yeah.
is accommodations. Now, they celebrity when you look online, they have a variety: concierge, standard verandas, aqua class, and then they have what I think you alluded to it earlier on the Edge class. These really new, innovative staterooms known as infinite verandas. Tell us a little bit about some of
Yes.
that, and maybe can you explain the difference between, for example, concierge and aqua class?
So, concierge, I will to start off by saying, and I'm
Okay,
talking about solstice class. There's no size difference between in the cabins between a veranda,
okay,
concierge, and aqua class. It's what is included in the cabin
okay,
that is the difference. On concierge class, you get the use of a concierge who can help you make shore excursion, appointments for shore excursions or specialty dining.
right,
They're there to help you. And then the amenities in your cabin are a little bit nicer. The soaps, the towels, you get flowers, you get fresh fruit. Room service menu is a little bit better. Aqua Class, the biggest thing with that is they have a specialty restaurant called Blue. And when they first started with Blue, I thought, it's going to be like all
right,
vegetarian
right.
and stuff, but it's not. Food is amazing. Literally, like the steak, you don't need a knife to cut it. It's like butter. It's a much smaller restaurant, so that's just for people
Okay,
that are in aqua class. They also have use of the spa for free. Now, if you want a massage, you still have to pay for it. But to go into like on Edge class, they have in their spa they have a salt room. And they have a steam room, and they just have several different rooms. You get to go
okay.
in that for free,
Oh,
kind of
it's
category.
not really about size, it's about the amenities that come along with it.
Exactly. And then when we get into Edge class, same thing. They still have concierge, they still have
Right.
aqua class cabins, which have those amenities. But the infinite
Yeah.
balconies themselves are part of your cabin. So it makes your cabin look larger. So if you want to sit out on the balcony, there's doors to close. So you're sitting out in the balcony, and there's a window
Right.
that comes down that opens the balcony. So you're outside, basically. But when you're not using your balcony, you close that window, you open the doors, and you have more room in your cabin. Your cabin is quite a bit larger. That's really
Yeah, I
nice
would
to have.
expect it would probably add about like standard balconies are 30 to 40 square feet. So if all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're adding 30 to 40 square feet toward to your standard veranda room, that's a good addition.
Yeah. My only complaint about the infinite balconies is, and it's minor, but I'm not a morning person. And depending on who I'm traveling with, some of my friends that I travel with, if I travel with my husband, he gets up and he goes out. But if I have friends that are early morning people, normally they would go out on the balcony and, sit quietly, and the curtains would stay closed. But because of the way the doors are, they can go out on the balcony and they can close the doors, but there's no
Right.
curtains on those doors. For me, it doesn't really bother me because I can pretty well sleep through anything. But if you have a light sleeper, once those curtains are
And
open, the
so
curtains are open.
basically you're up.
So you're up. Exactly. Yeah.
Now, speaking of balcony sizes, one of the things on the Millennium class ships is their aft family value cabins. They're on the aft of the ship and they're on the very edge of the starboard and the port side. And the balcony size, you can almost play tennis on those balconies.
Oh, you can.
But they're
Yes. Yep.
difficult. They're you have to book well in advance and you have to, I think, probably definitely have a family going now. You can't just book it for
Yeah.
two. Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
honestly depends. Sometimes they
Yeah.
do let two people book them, but even without those balconies, they do have aft balcony
Yeah.
cabins that aren't as large, but the
Yeah.
balconies are still large. They call them sunset verandas, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you could have a
Yeah.
party on them. You really could.
So if you like a balcony, and aft on some of these celebrity ships is a good option.
Absolutely. But like you said, they do go
Exactly.
fast. So if you want an aft balcony,
For sure.
earlier
For
the better.
sure. Number 7 on the list is all of the innovative features that they've come up with over the years. The lawn club, the atrium, and tell me about the magic carpet.
Oh, that's on their new Edge Class series. It's an amazing place to sit and when you're sailing away. So it's basically, how do I describe it? It's like a restaurant on the outside of the ship, but it's also an elevator. So sometimes when it's a restaurant or you're just wanting to sit and have a drink as a bar, it's
Right.
up on the higher deck. But what the innovation is, when you're getting off the ship
Yes.
and you have to tender and you're going down those rickety stairs and trying to get on a tender. Well, the magic carpet comes down to the level that you're getting off the ship. So it's a nice, comfortable place to wait and then get onto the tender. You're not going down the rickety
Right.
little steps. You're just getting right on the tender.
How many would it seat roughly the restaurant? Is
Oh,
it
it's a good size. It'll hold
Oh
maybe
really?
200
Yeah.
people. Like it's pretty good. It's because it does
Yeah.
become a restaurant at nighttime too, which you have to make reservations, and it is
Yeah.
something that you have to pay for. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good
The
size.
lawn club on the Solstice class ships. Have you been up there? Yeah.
I have, and it's real grass. It's a nice place to go, especially days at sea. You can walk around. They have oversized chairs that you can sit in, and it walk on the grass, enjoy yourself.
But they also have lawn bowling, is it?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawn bowler,
But
but
it's
they do
still
have it.
it's still there
Yes.
for other
Yep.
folks if want to go up and just enjoy it as well. Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Number 8, and number eight's a big one, is price position versus value. All included versus cruise only. How do they stack up when
Yes.
we compare them to, like, for example, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, or perhaps a luxury line in terms of value?
Definitely they're there. They are including drinks, Wi-Fi. It used to include prepaid gratuities. The good thing about my group space, which I know we'll talk about later, is for the year for 2024, my group space is still including the prepaid gratuity. But their pricing, like if you look at the price of, say, a Royal Caribbean, and then you add the drink pack, and then you add the Wi-Fi. The price difference with Celebrity is it's such a much better deal. It really and truly is. And I know some people say,
Right.
"Well, I don't drink." And that's fine, but do you drink
Yeah.
water? Because a bottle of water
Okay.
is like $5. So, with the drink package included, you don't have to worry about that. Soda is included. So it's not just alcohol that's included. bottled water, juices, like I said, soda. That's all included too. So you can really get off that ship and not have any bill waiting for you, unless you're like me and you buy stuff. But
Like you shop till you drop.
so, but now they have priced it so that because there are people that really don't
Yes.
want that all included. So
Yeah.
you can get it where it's just the
Yes.
cruise price. And when I price it up with the other cruise line, it is still such a great price. Once again, to get ahead even, because Celebrity is one of my favorite cruise lines, I have a
Right.
ton of group stay. And my pricing 99.9% of the time is so much better than just booking through general reservation.
And the
Some of my groups are like you're
Yeah.
saving
And the
$2,000 a
reason
person.
for that is because you block this group space 24 months out.
As soon as the itineraries and prices are opened up, are released, I go
Right.
in and grab group space. And I grab space that I think my client, based on the past, I usually escort one or two
Yeah.
cruises a year on Celebrity itineraries that,
Yeah.
I kind of want to do that, I think people want to cruise along with me. But also my head office, they have group space that I can buy into on almost every sailing. And they do the same thing. As soon as the itinerary and prices are released, they grab group space. And we know
Yeah.
prices continually go up. They don't go down, they go up. I'm escorting a group in February. My prices were like $1,500 per person less. It sold out because it was such a good price. But I put that group space aside. So it's 20. I put that group space aside in 2022.
And that would go for a lot of travel advisors. They have access to this group space on celebrity cruises in particular. They can bring good value with a travel advisor.
Absolutely.
Number
Yes.
9
Yeah.
is guest satisfaction and guest feedback on return. I gather you wouldn't be still using them all these years if your the feedback that you got from the guests on board was poor. Why do you think people choose them a second time? Aside from the fact that they're one of your go-to lines, but why do people go back to celebrity time and time again? Yeah,
Because they had a great time. And the reason they had a great time was because of everything that was
yeah.
on board, the staff, the food, the entertainment, the whole package. When you go and you have the time of your life and you get the best bang for your buck, of course you're going to go again and again and again. And of course they have so many different itineraries and so many different classes of ship. There's so much to try. I don't want to talk about COVID
It's in
because
the
it is in
past.
the rearview mirror. But Celebrity
Yeah.
and Royal Caribbean are one of the only cruise lines that do not have an expiry date on future cruise credits. So people that had to cancel their cruises or couldn't go on their cruises because of COVID, they gave you a future cruise credit. And I know some of the other cruise lines, people lost their money because they had to book it and sail by 2022 or 2020. They had to book it by 2023. And some people just aren't ready
Oh
yet.
yeah.
I mean, everything is opened up and we're there.
Yeah.
And they lost their money. Where Celebrity said, no, if you need 5 years, if you need 10 years, whatever you need, that future cruise credit is going to be there for you. And that shows me right there
Yeah.
that they care about
Also
the
goes to
customer.
show the health of the parent line, Royal Caribbean International, were healthy
Yes.
going into it and
Yeah.
survived it well, and then turned
Absolutely.
that to their
Absolutely.
advantage by keeping their customers loyal by providing that future cruise credit unlimited. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They also have, it's
right.
called Captain's Club. And once you've sailed on them once, you have to sign up. I usually sign up my clients. And once you cruise them more and more and more, you earn tiers. And the higher your tiers are, the more inclusive things you get. So I'm Elite Plus right now. There's so much that I get for being that level. So it's great to continue cruising on the same cruise line.
That was actually number 10 on our list. The captain's club and the loyalty program that they run, which is, in my view, is
Yeah,
basically second to none.
absolutely.
How does that stack up with, other than Royal Caribbean? How does that stack up with Holland American and some of these other lines?
I think it's one of the
Yeah,
best out there. Like I said, you get the more
yeah,
tiers you earn or higher up in tiers you get,
yeah.
the more you get included. But after your first cruise, when you are signed up, when you go to cruise again, if it's available, one
Yes.
category upgrade free just
Yeah.
from cruising them once. And it doesn't mean going from ocean view to balcony, but you can pick. Often I will be able to purchase an obstructed balcony and get upgraded for free to an
Exactly.
unobstructed.
And that's
So
a big thing.
it is, absolutely is. So, and that starts right
Yeah.
after your first cruise. So
Super,
programs out
super.
there.
Well, that's our top 10. Now, I know when it comes to celebrity cruises, you always put your money where your mouth is. And I know that right now you've actually got a number of celebrity groups set. Tell us a little bit about some of your upcoming groups.
I do. The first one is my February cruise. I usually escort a winter cruise because here in
Snowbirds
Canada
with
it gets cold and I'm
snowbirds
not
got
much
to
of a
get
fan.
somewhere warm in
So, but that
January.
exactly, exactly. So, cruise this year is February, but
Right,
it is sold out. The next cruise that I'm escorting is for Scandinavia, and it's June 15th, and it's on the APEC. And the last time I checked, I believe my pricing was like
right.
$1,800 per person less. And my groups are very easygoing. The ones that I escort, very easygoing. If you want to hang with me, that's fine. If you don't want to hang with me, you just want to know that I'm there if you need me in an emergency. It's your vacation. I want you to be happy and do
Exactly.
what you want to do. But besides the ones that I'm escorting, I have a Greek Isles cruise in May. I escorted a group on it this year, and it was an amazing itinerary. There's still days at sea, so you can relax, but it hits like Malta and it hits Greek islands, and it starts in Rome and ends in Barcelona. So great pre and post. I do have, if you're wanting to look for 2025 already in the Caribbean, I have one that goes to the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao with great pricing. I also have a longer cruise that still does the ABC Islands, but is going through the first set of locks in the Panama Canal. My head office has group space that
Yeah.
I have access to.
So on that point, like price differences that you mentioned, they do fluctuate because the prices of what celebrities charging on any given day fluctuates as well. Also, what
Yes,
happens
absolutely.
with your groups, I think you kind of alluded to it, is that as that cruise gets filled up, if you haven't filled your space, celebrities are going to come back and say, you know what, give us back our space, right? So it can any groups
Yes,
that you
yeah.
have can disappear at any given time.
Absolutely, absolutely. The one good thing about the group pricing is the deposit is refundable up until final payment. Through general reservations, you can book a refundable deposit, but it's more expensive than booking a non-refundable deposit.
Anne-Marie, this is absolutely super information. I've learned a ton today, especially on groups, and that's unusual.
Well, as you can tell, like you said earlier,
Yeah,
celebrity is
yeah.
is my favorite, and I just love sailing them and
So,
love
folks
selling them.
wanted to reach out to you about a celebrity cruise or another escorted vacation. How would they do that?
They can either go to my website, email me, or give me a call. Either way, I answer to all things and would love to help anybody with whatever they want to do. I do just do cruises. I made that decision over 25 years ago because for this simple reason, I want to
Yeah,
know what I'm selling. I
good.
love
So,
to
for the
help
benefit
people.
of our
So.
podcast listeners, what's the best number and your email address?
Okay, so I'll give you
Okay,
my toll free number. It's 1-800-535-9424.
okay,
So 1-800-535-9424. And if they want to email me, it's my name. So ANN-MARIE at LUV, the number two, CRUZ.ca. So Anne Marie at
perfect,
lovetocruise.ca.
perfect. I will leave that information in the description for folks that might like to reach out. So, I always have to ask because I know you're always traveling. Where's the next place you're off to? Where's your next cruise?
I'm so excited. Not that I'm counting or anything, but 43 days. I'm doing a Christmas markets cruise. One of my favorite cruises, Christmas market, all through Germany, and then spending 2 days in Lucerne and 2 days in Zurich afterwards. So I'm
Sounds
very
fantastic. Now
excited.
that's not with celebrity cruises, so
That's with the Emma Waterways, one of my
oh,
favorite
super,
river cruise
super.
lines. So very much
Well, we'll
looking
have to
forward
have
to
you
it.
back to regale us with your adventures on the Waterways cruise. How's that sound?
Yes,
All
for
right.
sure. Sounds
Well, with
good.
that, Anne Marie, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises and vacations. May the wind always be at your back, and I hope to see you on the Lido deck sometime soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care,
You
Anne
take
Marie.
care
Bye.
too.
Take care.
Thanks for having me.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Ann-Marie Gaudet of Cruise Holiday Select. If you'd like to reach Ann-Marie, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach us with a question or a suggestion for a future interview, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this interview, a like, subscribe, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.